Using variables. Some definitions. A variable is a letter used to represent a quantity that can change. So any letter of the alphabet would work. Algebraic expression. A mathematical phrase that can include numbers, variables, and operation symbols. Expressions do not include equal signs. Some math words and phrases that you'll frequently see. Addition could be add, sum, total, more than, plus, increased by, together, deposit, or and. Subtraction, we could have minus, subtract, difference, fewer than, decreased by, less than, withdraw. Multiplication, I could have times or multiplied by, per, each, product, or of. Now, these two words, per and of, sometimes get used also in division. So in division, we've got the words quotient, divided by, separate, split into, per, and out of. So you can see those words kind of mirrored in multiplication and division. So let's take some algebraic, let's write some algebraic expressions from word phrases. We've got the sum of 15 and x. That's pretty straightforward. We know it's got the word sum, so we're gonna do addition. We're going to write our algebraic expression in order of how it's written here. So the number 15 comes first, and then x. So we're going to write it in that way. 15 plus x. Number 2, 28 more than y. 28 more than y. So now you see the word more than. Words, more than. So when you see these two words, that's actually going to be a signal in your brain to reverse the order. So 28 more than y. There has to be something there first so that we can add 28 to it. So that's why our y comes before our 28, even though in the problem that you see the 28 first. More than should be a signal to you to reverse the order. Same with less than. That's your signal. Let's reverse this order. K less than 10. There's got to be something there first for us to take away k from that thing. So we have to have 10 so that we can take away k from it. 20 times a number p. So sometimes they don't just give you the letter like in the past 3 problems. Sometimes they'll call it the number p or the number x, and that just again represents a variable that's really representing an unknown value. So we still are just going to use that letter. 20 times p. I'm going to write it like this. You could write it using parentheses. You could write it using a dot. But this is the simplest form. I've got the least amount of numbers and symbols. I'm not wasting my pencil lead or my ink here with writing all of these different ways, because I'm using extra symbols here. I don't have to. I can make it as simple as possible. This represents the same thing as those two, so why don't I just write it like this? That's the way we want to see it more often. I do not want to see you write it with the x as times, because now that we're using variables and letters, sometimes that x could be mistaken for a variable, not multiplication. So we don't like using x's as our multiplication now that we're working with algebraic expressions. The last one, the quotient of 6 and r. Quotient means divide. So I could write it using a division symbol, and we're going to write it in the way that we see it here, 6 coming first and then r coming after it. 6, I can use a division symbol, but again, we're going to kind of start removing this from our vocabulary, if you will. Let's start using a fraction bar to represent division. That's really what division is that's what fractions are. Fractions are representing division. So let's start using that because you're going to see that a lot in the coming years. So 6 divided by r. Writing algebraic expressions in words. So now that now you're giving the expression, and we need to write the words for that expression. So there are many ways to write it. These statements. You might have something different in your head than what I'm getting ready to write, but it could also be correct. So let's see. We've got, in this case, I would say x plus 3. You could say 3 more than x. You could say 3 added to x. So let's write, I like the more than, 3 more than x. And remember, more than means to reverse the order. So even though you see the x coming first in the problem, more than is signaling to you reverse the order. So number 2, I could say m take away 7, m subtract 7, or I could use the phrase less than. If I use the phrase less than, I need to reverse the order. 7 less than m. Example 3, I could write the product of 2 and y. I could write 2 times y, 2 multiplied by y. Let's do 2 times y. And then the last one, k divided by 5. Again, you could write the quotient of k and 5. You could use any of those words that we saw in the beginning. Now we have this special case. It's called, it's the word quantities. The word quantity is there to help signal to you that maybe we should include some parentheses. So we've got 3 times the quantity of x and 5. So and, remember from beginning, means to add. So we're going to write 3 times the quantity of, we're going to put our parentheses in. When a number is directly beside parentheses with no operation symbol between those two, that automatically means multiply. So again, I don't have to waste my pencil lead. I can just write 3 with a parenthesis next to it. That automatically means multiply. 3 times the quantity of x and 5. X and 5. So again, we've got this word quantity, and that's just symbolizing that we've got this put together, and we're going to complete this operation before we multiply. And if we used order of operations and if we knew what x was, we would simplify what's inside the parentheses first before we multiply. So we use the word quantity to help us organize our algebraic expression. The product of 14 and the quantity of 8 plus w. So we've got the quantity of 8 plus w in our parentheses, and we're going to multiply it by the number 14. We need to multiply because it says product. And number 3, 17 divided by the quantity z minus 34. So I've got the number 17. That's going to be divided by the quantity of z minus 34.